I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Achtung Millwall podcast supports the Lions Food Hub, dear listeners, and you can do too by getting yourself an Achtung Millwall t-shirt from noonelikes.co.uk, also known as Nolu Clothing. They've got a wonderful Achtung Millwall t-shirt on there for £15. At least £8 of each sale goes to support the Lions Food Hub, which does fantastic work for families in and around the South East 16 area. Show your allegiances on the podcast front, dear listeners, by getting yourself an Achtung Millwall t-shirt, and by doing that, you'll support the wonderful, the brilliant Lions Food Hub. Noonelikes.co.uk, Achtung Millwall t-shirt, £15. Check it out.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You join me for our Monday with Merv session. I'm not really sure what we're going to be talking about, Merv.
No, can't.
Any ideas, mate? What?
Nothing sticks in my mind from the weekend.
Oh dear, the weekend, dear listeners, has been dominated, and my day personally has been dominated by the Crystal Palace FA Cup fifth round tie, 3-1 loss, of course, for the Lions. But Merv, we were just saying off air, mate, clearly the incident, there's only one incident the whole world seems to want to talk about at the moment. That's that 5th-minute clash between Liam Roberts in the Lions goal and the Crystal Palace Jean-Pierre Mateta. You know, I mean, in real time, let me just say this, because I was actually there, and the angle of view from the Arthur Waite stand is not worth 30 odd quid or whatever it was I paid for the ticket, because you could barely see a thing. So it's very hard to really see much in real time. So I just want to say that to any neutrals listening into the show. I couldn't actually see who was down for a large period of time because you were so far away and the angle was so low where I was. But anyway, neither that near nor there. Clearly, the football world is alive at the moment with a kind of what the club has described as a character assassination, Merv. There's a statement been put out, just reading it before we came online here, mate, on the South London club, saying they discussed what they call the character assassination of Liam Roberts.
Absolutely.
The whole thing has gone well over the top, mate.
Yeah. Well, let's get one thing out in the open. And this is not me speaking as a paranoid chip on your shoulder Millwall supporter. This is fact. So I've worked at newspapers. I have friends who are journalists. I know for a fact that certainly where Millwall are concerned, but obviously with every big sporting event or every newsworthy event that's likely to have some sort of headlines, and in this day and age, clickability, the journalists and the newspapers and the editors, that they'll be ready with what sort of story they want to get from it before it goes, because they want to react quickly. For example, the Man United Fulham game, they'll be saying, what do we do if United lose? You know, the doom and gloom stories. They'll have that all ready to go. And let's be honest, the media and Talk Sport are right at the top of this list. They didn't get the story they wanted. They wanted the streets of South Norwood to be ablaze. They wanted death and destruction. They wanted our fans rampaging across the pitch, chucking stuff. Yeah, they didn't get it. They wanted wall-to-wall offensive chants. I mean, we can come to that later, but they didn't get the. Basically, this is the media having a sulk because they didn't get the story they wanted. So the best they could do, the only thing they could eke out of it was basically a clumsy typical goalkeeper out of his area challenge, which
Yeah.
and people are criticising us. Even saw Jeff Stelling criticising Michael Oliver. How could he not? How did he need VAR to see that? Well, he did, because it happened very quickly. It was a ball over the top. Their striker sees it and goes for it. Our keeper thinks, I need to come out for it. You see it coming together. They're both on the floor, and you think, oh, that looks a bit nasty. But only when, of course, you see it frame by frame, VAR, do you realise it was bad. His foot was high, and you realise pretty quickly that he was going to get red carded. But none of it justifies this fallout. Of some of the stuff I've seen, I think it was a Mail on Sunday back page. He could have died. It said
he could have died.
He could have died, and then you get that absolute clown Parish at half time.
Yeah.
Sticking his nose in, and I should say, and what a nose it is. I mean, he could smell a Sunday roast on a Tuesday with that. But to allow that whining wide boy, that platform, to basically, like, as you say, it was a character assassination to just fuel the hysteria with the worst channel I've ever seen. The BBC loved it. They showed him storming down the stairs of the stand as if to say, right, I want to go on the telly. Oh, okay, whatever you say, Mr. Parish. It's pathetic. If it wasn't bad enough having Jonathan Pearce commentating on the bloody thing, where did they dig him out of? I can't remember the last time Jonathan Pearce commentated on a proper football match. It's just right from the start when he said, "Oh, Millwall are attacking the end which houses the Palace Ultras," and gone on about the noisiest fans in the land. Which were outsung, I should say, from the first minute to the last. Well,
there's no evidence of that, apart from a few
brilliant,
a few banners, Merv, which we'll come back to that later.
It's great. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You got these kind of moral high horse types. I mean, I saw Troy Deeney, listeners, who's done time for assault, a fracas in a nightclub with students. And he's kind of burbling on about the humanity, the inhumane, or I can't remember what words he said, but something about think of the human side of this and all this kind of stuff.
Oh,
Piers Morgan, Merv. Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan,
fabricator of stories about British servicemen, or his paper did, certainly, when he was editor of it. And you've got people like that latching on to this merry-go-round, which is Millwall. And, Reg Burt, all those years ago, certainly hit the nail on the head, Merv, when he said that Millwall was a convenient coat peg upon which society can hang its heels. And we still retain that role now, don't we?
Yeah. Well, when you've got Joey Barton sticking up for you, you're in trouble, don't you? When you've got him on your side, you think, wow, how low is or how low are you?
Yeah, well, there's...
Joey Barton thinks, hang on, this is out of order. I'm going to step in here. But,
it is incredible. I mean, obviously, online social media is a madhouse anyway, listeners, and you can't.
Clicks, isn't it? That's the thing.
That's why Steve Sutton on the Daily Mail podcast. Who knew they had a podcast, listeners? But they do, and he's on it. And he had the most slimy. It really got under my skin this morning, Merv, when I saw it. It's something about you'd have to ask Liam Roberts whether he intended it or not. And you think, if you think he did it, say so, because then you've got to stand by your words. If you don't think he did it, then don't say so. It's just this kind of smear by association.
It's just they just enjoy the
double
pile,
dealing,
don't they?
Absolutely.
Really pile on. It's this sort of smug self-assuredness about let's all jump on because everyone will agree with me because it's Millwall. And I can say what I want. I can be as nice as I want, and no one's going to defend them apart from Joey Barton, perhaps. But so to suggest a professional footballer would intentionally hurt another footballer. Obviously, it may have happened, but it's isolated in the past. But it was clumsy. It was perhaps a rough.
It was ill judged. Given the circumstances and the time.
Right.
But
this is their main man. This is their top scorer. I'm going to take him out early on so that. Me an easy afternoon. There's no way that it was an unfortunate passage of play whereby we got caught out a bit at the back, and some have said that the initial foul was by Mateta on Cooper.
Well, he pushed him out the way, Merv. I don't know if
I can see that, but that probably would have been soft. But it happens. It's a coming together, and I think in these situations, one or the other gets hurt. Either the keeper gets badly hurt, or the player does.
I think the push out of Cooper aside, which is football. I think that would have been a bit
soft.
that happens. He's pushed him aside.
Yeah.
But of course, Roberts is committed to coming forwards, and he's trying to get the ball. Unfortunately, there's a confusion of bodies there. Really, I think that's what I would say. Unwise to put your foot up that high. It's clearly once play stopped and they made this, they had like a dread kind of gates of hell type noise inside the stadium that indicated a VAR check. It was like a doom bell almost, you know. And once that happens, you knew there's going to be the screen sign and there's going to be a red card. So, you know, I don't think we can really argue. I actually haven't seen any Millwall supporter, not seriously, other than, you know, having a laugh. No one's seriously saying it wasn't a red card, Merv, but it's the pile on afterwards that
it's the hysteria. It's the hysteria because when a goalkeeper comes out of his area, he knows the thing foremost in his mind is I cannot touch this with my hands. If I touch this with my hands, I'm going off. So you either head it or you go with your feet. And he's clearly decided. I think the ball was coming down. I can't remember the trajectory of the ball. I think it might have been. So he's obviously thought the best policy was to just get his foot to it first, and he. You know, in a funny way, he did get his foot to it first, but these days, especially, it's all about the follow through. What happens after you've made contact, and besides which, you know, it's one of the oldest laws in the game is, you know, a foot at head height is dangerous play, and at the very least, you get a free kick given against you for it. So, can't have any complaints with the actual football inside of it. But yeah, the post match hysteria. I mean, I lost count the amount of times Jonathan Pearce in the second half reminded us that he'd gone to hospital. I honestly lost count of, you know, and I thought, is that really necessary? You know, he was really, really labouring the point. You know, it's just, well, in the end, I got beyond annoyed. I just had to laugh at it. I just found it amusing.
Yeah, it's in
some of the stuff
the moral outrage is incredible. You know, and I don't like to subscribe to like the conspiracy idea that it's because it's Millwall, but I do think there is a certain mindset amongst everybody, the whole world.
There is an agenda. I was told many
the club,
years ago,
you know.
I spoke to someone quite high up in newspapers and said, "Look, is there really an agenda against Millwall?" And he said, "Not an agenda as much." He said, "But the bottom line is, a lot of journalists are lazy. They like an easy job, and Millwall make their job easy. Well, quite often." He said they'll play into their hands, or it's easy for them to sort of dust off the old copy from the previous trouble or whatever, and regurgitate it. And of course, it sells papers. It gets people looking at the news. And nowadays, worse than ever, more, you know, it gets clicks. And you can see that's what the likes of all the newspaper, Facebook groups and accounts, all the Twitter accounts, but TalkSport being the worst. It's all about the clicks for them. I mean, I don't know. Facebook has gone so downhill. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a picture of my mate's dinner. It's all about newspaper, Facebook, and it's all about like hysterical stories. When you read, once you've clicked and you get all these bloody ads popping up, you realise it's a total non-story. I mean, until Saturday, all TalkSport were going on about was Luke Littler. They were reporting his bowel movements. You know, you couldn't move for TalkSport Luke Littler stories on Facebook, and Luke Littler's probably our biggest fan right now because he probably thinks, well, you know,
we're taking him off his bowel movements away from the sports pages.
I'm UK Open, and TalkSport couldn't give a toss. All they're bothered about is Millwall's goal.
It's an insatiable demand for sensationalism and as you say rightly for clicks, because that generates money, and that's what poor Liam Roberts has fallen into. The club have published a statement calling the media response disgusting. I agree with it.
Totally agree.
Way over the top. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, a red card, 3-match ban, I think, is a minimum. I suppose a debate, which I think was what Sutton was trying to slimily allude to, is that there should be more. Whether there will be more games, the ban added to it, I don't know. I think that'd be unfair, Merv, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be. But what we've got to remember is, again, people like Chris Sutton. I mean, you can tell from his phone-in show on 5 Live with Savage. He enjoys painting himself as the pantomime
villain. Yeah,
he sits there and he knows exactly what to say that will get people ringing up and foaming at the mouth. You know, he can criticise Arsenal's championship title credentials, and he knows them all ringing up, slagging him off, and you can see he's very clever with it. I don't believe he believes half of what he says. He just goes along with a script that gets sound bites and headlines and clicks and listens. So
So listen to that podcast at your peril, listeners. Don't give them the money. Don't give them the clicks.
So, massively. But yeah, I
mean, I
I
want to touch on the let him die chant, because that also seems to have whipped up a load of hysteria. I mean, I first heard that chant, Merv, at Coldblow Lane in about 1972, 73-ish. Yeah. And I've heard it at plenty of other grounds. I would even lay money, listeners, on every ground at some point someone at the crowd have chanted that. Yeah. It's so hackneyed a chant, and it's juvenile. No one really means they want him to die. It's a pantomime thing.
Yeah, exactly. My memory of it, it's almost ironic when a player was perhaps seen to be feigning injury, and obviously Mateta wasn't feigning injury; he was genuinely injured. But quite often, it's when a player's down, he's perhaps seen to be making a meal of it, or he's just maybe feigning it or putting it on a bit much. But it's almost it is. People say, "Oh, it's not. Doesn't sound very funny." But apparently, that made the headlines in Germany. I had a friend who's a German-based Millwall supporter, and he WhatsApped me and said, "What's going on? The papers here are saying that we sang 'Let Him Die' when Mateta was injured." I said, "Well, everyone sings it." I said, 20 minutes later, Palace fans were singing it.
They were singing it. That's right.
When Negley was down, and I don't want to go into the realms of what about, but as Negley was laying there getting treatment, the Palace ultras, they were singing "Let Him Die," and there was you could see coins coming down. But of course, no mention of that.
No. That doesn't fit the narrative.
No, it's not. It's gaslighting all the way. It's the public only need to know what Millwall were up to, and they've tried to make it seem like that "Let Him Die" chant was created specifically by Millwall supporters for that particular moment. That's the real sinister side of it, and you're getting people who've clearly never been to a football match in their lives, standing in judgment over it all on Facebook. That's why I gave up. I started answering a few of them, just calling them wet wipes, to be honest, and stuff like that. And then in the end, I got bored. But I just thought, I'm so annoying.
There's only so much you can do with that.
Ruining my Saturday evening.
So
But yeah, people who clearly haven't even been to a football match in their lives, and we've seen it for years, taking these reports from the media at face value as gospel, and it's actually quite sinister, but also just daft.
I want to talk about the football for a moment.
Yeah, let's move on to the football. We've covered, I think.
There's not much more we can say. No. We're going to have the voicemails later in the show, listeners, so you'll hear plenty more about the Liam Roberts situation. But I thought in the immediate aftermath of losing Liam, and obviously down to 10 men, Merv, we really were at sea, and I thought Crystal Palace, in fairness to them, their team anyway, attacked us with some intent and looked really dangerous every time they came forward. I thought it could be a cricket score at half time at one point.
That was the fear, wasn't it? Yeah, I think with that in mind, because they obviously their tactic was right. Let's really, really turn the screw.
And they're a powerful team. Their forward play was strong and athletic, and they've signed Romain Esse, and he looks like a boy compared with some of the other players he's playing alongside there. But anyway, so first goal was the own goal, which was a ball whipped in from the left, Merv, I think, and hit Tanganga and went in. Yeah. And after that, the mountain became Everest, as I put it on Twitter on Saturday. Always going to be difficult, especially once we went 2 down.
Yeah, we discussed the implications of VAR last week, didn't we? And
we did. Yeah.
It sounds a bit glib to say it now, but without VAR, it would have been 1-0 at half time, 11 versus 11. It might not even been 1-0 because obviously Oliver didn't see the incident in real time. He was happy to play on, so that wouldn't have been given without VAR. And the second goal was flagged for offside. Was ruled out, and then a quick look at
and ruled in afterwards. Yeah.
So it's 2-0, and it's game over. And I think they took their foot off the gas a bit, Palace, to be totally honest. But we came back well. I thought Harding took his goal really well.
Good strike from Harding at the end. That gave real hope. I mean, that was most unexpected, and the atmosphere it was just getting a bit flat by half time. It was very hard to see a way back.
Yeah,
that really gave us a boost. I thought the second half. And I want to praise Alex Neil here because obviously he's been dealt a bad hand of cards there with the loss of Liam Roberts so early, down to 10 men and so on. But I thought he really got us playing well in the second half. I thought we had a dead ball type chance in the second half, and I want to take my hat off to the tactical acumen to do that because you know, they didn't look half the team they did in the second half, and
No,
I
no.
thought that was really astute.
Yeah, and I thought Femi Aziz looked really good again. I mean, he
Yeah,
was brilliant for the goal. There was a few moans when the starting lineup was announced and Ivanovic was replaced by Coburn. But again, I thought that worked well because Coburn, because of the
yeah,
physical element of Palace, and
yeah,
even the commentators. I can't remember who the co-commentator was now. I think it might have been Glenn Murray. I can't remember, but he particularly praised how well Coburn was doing in the air and his hold-up play. And we've touched on that before.
yeah.
Aziz looked good. So I thought, it was a decent. I mean, in fit, we could have actually been 3-2 up within
Yeah, well, we
10,
had
15 minutes.
chances.
Yeah, there was a chance from Coburn. There was a chance before that. I think it was Aziz.
Yeah,
They
I've
could have gone
seen more of the
anywhere.
chances in Saturday because I couldn't really see much. The angle was a poor
Creation
one for
for a
the
spell.
Millwall where we were attacking. But no, I thought we did really well. We
I
had an
thought so.
outside puncher's chance in the second half. I thought wasn't to be. The third goal was that looping header, wasn't it? Nketiah, I think. God,
Yeah.
just looped it over the top of Gent, and that really was that. We have to, I can't let you go before I mention the Palace Ultras. Homesdale Fanatics and their banner work.
The banner work, yeah.
If it was an embroidery competition, I'd say they'd be hands down European champions, Merv.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing. This kind of there's always been a wannabe element to Crystal Palace. I was telling the boys
Massively,
around me
yeah.
the Malcolm Allison nicking the Benfica nickname and the Barcelona kit in the 70s, and this whole
they've always been
plastic side.
Try to be something they're not. They're like the next door neighbour who's always boasting about. He's always got something better than you. If you've been to Tenerife and he's been to bloody Tenerife, it's like, oh yeah, I've got this. And they've always. And I said that was my thing at school. I went to school in Upper Norwood, and school was full of bloody Palace. And I said that. I said, you all just think you're something you're not. That's what really gets me. I said, obviously they're doing well as a football club. You can't deny that they've done well.
No.
But
they've got some decent players. I'll take my hat off to their athleticism. But
this whole ultras thing is just so laughable because it's so false and fake. It goes against really what football support is. It's spontaneous. It should be spontaneous.
It was traditionally. I think the game.
It's not rehearsed or.
The Premier League love it because it's kind of non-threatening, and the most you're going to see is a cheeky little banner. So knuckle dress. Really?
Yeah. They think people are actually hanging on their every word. Or wonder what the Palace.
What banners have they produced?
Next. Yeah, I wonder what what banner they'll produce about the Ukrainian crisis from Donald Trump. I wonder if they'll do one about Vice President Vance.
I love the fact they waited till the game was sewn up on the third goal before they produced their South London is ours.
South London is ours.
Triplet.
Triptych. South London is ours. Say the boys from Croydon. I know. But there you go.
Oh dear. So. Yeah, I was kind of glad in that moment, despite our torrid history as Millwall fans, that I was quite glad I never succumbed to Crystal Palace as a boy because it was it was one of the options, But there we are. That's modern football. I don't know the Premier Leagueisation. I mean, there was a great point made by Millwall halfway line. I think I mentioned it on the other show, Merv. The whole sanitisation, if you want to call it that the Premier League induces in a club. I don't think we'd ever fall foul of it. I think we'd be the most like the virus if we ever got into the Premier League, because this would be every week.
We'd be the one at the party when everyone goes, "Who invited him?" I didn't.
This would be 38 games worth. Can you imagine that? I don't know if I can imagine it, to be honest with you.
I'm not. Because I've said before, I'm quite selfish in that, and you're probably similar to me. That I've seen Millwall in the top flight, but I've seen them there for the first time. That was great. I enjoyed it. It's happened, and getting to the Premier League would be great, but it wouldn't be as sweet as that. But the one thing I would really like, the one reason I would really like to see us do it is just for that reaction. And the amount of fans of other clubs in the Premier League who say, "Oh yeah, it would be really fun to see Millwall." The Premier League needs Millwall. It would be funny, but I'm not sure I could stand 38 lots of VAR.
This would be every weekend
Right.
for the football season. So
Yeah.
be careful what we wish for. But that's the
Exactly,
only
yeah.
game in town, listeners. So that's where we're trying to claw our way to. Well, upon which I just want to mention the Bristol City game tomorrow night is actually a big game. It's going to be interesting to see how we take it, because that was 10 men for 90 minutes, pretty much 85 minutes on Saturday. It will have drained the side, and that it's the whole impact of the demonisation of Liam Roberts as see what impact that's had. I'm hoping it has a Millwall impact. They come out of the corner fighting.
It usually does, doesn't it? Yeah, hopefully it will galvanise us, rather than break us down, because it does. Because for once, I mean, I think the irony of all this press hysteria is that it's increasingly becoming the unlikely situation where we can actually start to take the moral high ground, because the press are behaving worse than we have in the past. And it's surely only a matter of time before people do have to stop and think, well, hang on, this is a bit much now. We're bored.
People online wanting him charged with attempted murder.
Yeah.
One bloke accused me of being an accomplice for saying, "Well, hang on, it was a rash challenge, of course, but it was a 50-50 incident on the football pitch. It's not street.
We're lucky Crime Watch UK isn't still on the telly, because I think they'd have been doing a reconstruction.
But if I do any time in Belmarsh, listeners, do come visit me.
Yeah, what are you in for? Oh.
Accomplice to Liam Roberts.
Conspiracy to give Mateta a kick in the head.
There we are. Yeah. That's modern football. So there we are. I shall be there tomorrow night, listeners. Bristol City at home. I'm actually going to go to Watford on Saturday, so it's a big week. Crucial week. Crucial 6 points this week will really put us in the mix, Merv.
That will really get the FA.
Oh, mate. FIFA will intervene.
Imagine an emergency meeting at the Premier League headquarters if they see us anywhere in the top 6.
What's his face? The FIFA bloke. Oh dear, the Italian. I can't think of his name. He'll be Infantini. He'll be intervening from the Saudi Arabian hole that he lives in. So there we are. Merv, big thank you for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you, mate. Pleasure as always.
A bit of controversy this week, but do stay tuned, listeners, because we're going to be back after these messages with yet more voicemails.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listeners. Big thank you to Merv before the break there. I also want to say a big thank you before we start on the voicemails to everyone that sent me content this weekend. I've had quite a few, as you can imagine, with the controversy over the weekend. Now I've got quite a bit to pack in, so I'm just going to roll these back to back. I apologise in advance for not giving my usual interjections in between each message, but there's quite a lot here, and I'm trying, as a general rule, to try and bring these shows in under the hour. So whether I'll achieve that or not today, I don't know. But so we're going to roll the voicemails back to back. Big thank you to everyone that's contributed. If you want to contribute, do give me a shout on Twitter at achtungmillwall. We can exchange WhatsApp numbers. Just send me a voice note after the game or whenever suits your fancy, really. Always welcome and always appreciated. So we're going to begin now with Jim Hackett, and then we're going to roll on down the river from there with the remainder. Huge thank you for tuning in to the show. Until the next edition of Achtung Millwall after the Bristol City game tomorrow night. From me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Well, Nick, Jim Hackett, after yesterday's game against the mighty Crystal Palace, I think the game obviously was done after 7 or 8 minutes. The Roberts challenge, again, it's exactly what it was. It was a goalkeeper coming out to clear a ball. You can dissect it as much as you want. It was just mistimed. I don't think all the comments afterwards, the malice, the worst challenge ever. I think I've seen a load worse challenges than that, and anybody who's been around football at all at any level will know they've seen worse challenges than that on a Sunday morning. So, I think everybody's making more of it. Everything else that came after that, I think, was always on the cards. For me, the team he selected wasn't bad. I thought that was probably as good as we were going to play out, and we started the game, I think, okay. Once that challenge went in and Roberts was off, then I think it was a different sort of game. And if it wasn't back to the wall beforehand, it certainly was after that. I thought Jensen came on and did fantastically well. without him in the first half, I think it would have been sort of 4, 5, 6, whatever. But as it was 2-0. The goals, I don't know what Tanganga was doing. The first one, it was like it caught him out, and then the second one, Billy took a swipe again, hit Tanganga, and they pocket from the resulting sort of rebound. But that's how life was. I thought in the first half, I think our lads sort of showed a little bit too much respect to it all, because Palace didn't actually have a sort of a plan that was going to sort of cut us open. All they did was throw the ball in the box, and every time they threw it in, I think our two centre-backs looked like they had bloody concrete feet. They just couldn't get themselves moving. They couldn't get themselves shifting, and it was like the VAR being present stopped them making their usual challenges. And I think Alex Neil must have said something at half-time, because second half, they were throwing themselves into things. They were winning the ball, and they were challenging no matter what. And I think there's something to be said for the VAR having an effect on our players. I thought Tanganga looked a shadow of himself in the first half, and every time Palace got the ball, it was like they were putting it in, waiting for the challenge and hoping that VAR will get something. But as it was, they did enough to get a 2-0, and I think the game was sort of coasting along, and it was at what point they were going to score some more, until Wes Harding popped up with his goal just before half-time, and that put a totally different complex on the game. And second half, I thought we were not unlucky, because I think at 2-1, I think we were probably okay, but just one or two of those little nicks that we could have done with didn't quite go in. Coburn, very unlucky. I thought, somebody said on the TV about him, he should have been reacting quicker. And but again, players are what they are. If he didn't get there, he didn't get there. But that was probably our chance. And then they scored their last goal. And again, it was more about the header that won. The lad who won the header from the free kick had nobody challenging him. And then that left everybody else sort of struggling. And, against Premier League players, they are going to damage you if you give them the opportunity. And that's what happened. And 3-1, I think would have took that when it was half-time, I think, or just before half-time when it was 2-0. I think would have, if they'd have said 3-1, we'd have walked away quite happy, because we didn't disgrace ourselves. We gave a great account of ourselves second half. I thought all the team played well second half. But if I was going to look at players of the match for us, I'd say Wes Harding. How he isn't getting the game. I know Cramer's doing okay, but for me, Wes Harding shows great fight there. He looks good to go forward, and he looks safe defending. So, whatever is going on where he doesn't get a game, I'm not sure. But, he's certainly playing himself into somebody else's team if he's not going to stay with us. As for the rest of it, I felt a bit sorry for Kundal, because he only had that 7 minutes to show. But the rest of them, not bad. Hopefully, Negley's injury isn't too bad, but it looked like it might be a sprained ankle, the way he went over on it. And it looked, if it is, then you're probably writing him off for most of the rest of the season, and that'd be a real shame. Honeyman and Saville, when they came on, did the job. I thought Billy and Casper did really well, during their time on the game. But our whole game was built around the second half, and I thought in second half we showed that we're a good, competent side. Palace had to work to break us down, and eventually they did. But you talk about Premier League players. When you looked at the physicality they had, the speed of everything they did was a touch up on ours, and you can see the difference. But for me, I'd have took that before the game, because it's not that important, the FA Cup. Obviously, it would have been lovely to get something over on them, but that was done and dusted once Roberts put his challenge in. Now we go forward. I think Bristol City, what we've got to do is come back from that yesterday and not use that as an excuse to be tired against Bristol City. And we've got to go at them. I think that the problem he's going to have is what team he puts out. I think most of it will pick itself. The back four will pick itself. The centre midfield will pick itself. And I think Coburn will probably get a run up front. But I think it's then, who do you play wide? I think Femi Aziz is obviously nailed on. But then on the right-hand side, does he go with Marku? Does he go with Bangura Williams? Or is there somebody else in there? Connolly? I don't know. But whatever it is, let's hope we get a good following on Tuesday. And let's hope that they can put yesterday's game behind them. But overall, very happy yesterday with what we saw in the second half. We didn't capitulate, and we didn't cave into the boys down the road. And, good luck to them going forward. They didn't do anything that was sort of terribly wrong against us, apart from their chairman and his bitty wavy hair. But he's a bit of a plant pot, isn't he? Okay, anyway, on to Tuesday. Good luck. Come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. Mark Willoughby. Just a quick note. After attending yesterday's game, at Selhurst Park. The game itself, it was a sending off, so it takes precisely 6 minutes of Millwall's first ever game involving VAR for us to fall foul of that kind of system. So welcome to the brave new world. On the pitch, pretty disastrous first half. Didn't really make any inroads at all. Obviously, the sending off was key. Coburn completely ineffectual up the top. But we got a lifeline just on half time in the 58th minute of the first half. And it meant that the game still had something to offer in the second half. And I was very proud of how we did. We gave it a real good go and competed in the second half. So that sort of kept the game alive. The atmosphere amongst the fans was good. Plenty of banter and amusing songs. So that was that. But I also wanted to sort of just touch on the sort of, the DNA of the two clubs of Millwall and Palace. And it just made me realise, how pathetic it is that their fans have to use a drum to get them to sing. And to, they've made two individual banners, both with like 3 and 2 different bits of material. So there's some real effort that's gone into making these banners just so they can put a message out to us. I mean, it's pathetic, absolutely pathetic. Just imagine them getting together like midweek somewhere at some kind of clubhouse and all sitting round knitting their banners and talking about what songs they can come up with between them. My son came up with it quite well. He said it's a bit like a kid wondering why they get bullied but turning up to school with a briefcase. That's what Palace are. And it makes me realise why I support this club. I don't want us to change how we are. And even if there's 4 divisions between us and teams like Palace, we'll still be the one with more about us, with more swagger. And so long may it continue. We've got a strong identity, which makes me proud to be a Millwall fan. So well done everyone yesterday. It was an enjoyable day, which I didn't think was going to be the case deep into the first half when we were 2-0 down and floundering. So all good, and let's concentrate on making a push towards the playoffs and seeing how high we can finish and getting these new players to knit together and using this time for the remainder of this season to really bond. Really pleased with Alex Neil and what he's doing. It's a feel-good factor at the moment, I think. And we'll wait and see what happens in the summer and then we'll push on. So all good. Hope you're well, Nick. Come on, you Lions.
Hiya, Nick. Glenn here. So, following the Palace game, I guess really the thing that everybody's talking about is the challenge on Liam Roberts on that guy Mateta. I think as a goalkeeper, when you're sort of gaining experience, you learn that as you go up for balls like that, it was a 50-50 challenge between a on-rushing striker and a sort of keeper running out of his area to try and clear the ball. You are taught to defend yourself when you're up in the air by raising your knee up to protect your rib cage, and that naturally obviously brings your foot up higher as well. And I think looking at that, I think what we saw was actually Liam Roberts' timing wasn't the issue. He got out, got to that ball first, cleared it. It was just that sort of the momentum of his legs seemed to be travelling forwards, but then it went up, and that's the bit I can't really explain. And I can only imagine that he was just trying to protect himself and guard against the striker, sort of trying to wipe him out as he came running in. Obviously, the unfortunate part is that his boot caught him on the head. Interesting that the referee, on first glance in real life time, didn't even think it was a yellow card. So, I mean, obviously it didn't look clear on the pitch at the time. And it's easy with replays and television to sort of stand there and say, well, he should have seen it. But actually, it was more of a glancing blow. And maybe that's that was down to the fact that Liam Roberts wasn't actually trying to kick the guy in the head, and I'm pretty disgusted really with the behaviour of people like Steve Parish and some of the press who are trying to label Liam Roberts as some sort of monster. He's not gone around and stuck a cigar in someone's eye. You know what I mean? He's run out, challenged for a ball, been clumsy, and unfortunately, clumsiness can end up in people getting hurt quite badly. But I don't think there was any intention there. I really don't. And quite frankly, the people that are sort of piping up about it just need to watch what they're saying, because one day it may come back on them. The fans singing "Let Him Die." That's South London humour, I'm afraid. Don't take it too seriously. A lot of people sort of talking about, should we get a fine or whatever? Well, Christ, if that gets us a fine, I hope we never get to the Premier League. It's full of, people like Steve Parish and VAR, and quite frankly, I don't think there'd be anything there for me. I'd probably take a season off. When come back when we start batting in the Championship again, when proper football's being played. But yeah, I think everyone just needs to sort of calm down a little bit, really, and stop hanging Liam Roberts out to dry. He's been fantastic for us, continues to play well, and actually that sending off really ended the game as a contest. Despite that, I think we made a fist of it, and congratulations to the lads that remained on the pitch, and Alex Neil for really showing once again these management chops. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Bristol City next. Let's get back on the winning trail, shall we? Come on, you lines.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hello, Nick. Hello, listeners. John Rankin calling. A few words about the Crystal Palace game yesterday. I only send voice notes in on games that I've actually attended in person, and I was lucky enough to get a ticket. I went with my son and my mate Paul. We drove up to Crystal Palace, parked in Clifton Road, right opposite a Crystal Palace pub, and walked to the ground. And yeah, reflections on the experience. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of voicemails about this, but let's deal with the issue that I saw first of all. The gulfing class really between the defenders on either side, and that I'm afraid includes Japhet Tanganga, and I can see now why. He didn't figure in Spurs' plans, a bit controversial, but that own goal he gave away, that was a right back playing in a centre back position. I've said this before, I think he's out of position. And, it was such a shame because we were definitely in it. But more about the defence. Their defenders were as quick as their forwards, if not quicker. Very, very pacey, all tall, all big units, all very powerfully built. And, if you look at the difference between our defenders, let's talk about the Mateta incident. Mateta didn't commit a foul on Jake Cooper. He just legitimately shoulder barged him off the ball, and that's how big Jake Cooper. The goalkeeper coming out committed, and he played the ball, and there was a bit of contact on the guy's ear. End of story. I'm not even sure if it was a red card, to be honest with you. And that brings me on to VAR. I'm not sure I enjoyed the experience, to be honest with you. It's the first game I've been at with VAR, and I just thought it was crap, quite frankly. The second goal was disallowed by the referee, and then the screen said, "Oh, checking goal." Oh no, it's a goal. It's just a load of bollocks. They can keep it. I've got no interest in it. And the conversation in the car afterwards was, well, if Millwall do go to the Prem, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I might just support Bromley or something, or where I live, Hastings United, because it's not really football, if you ask me. Having said that, if the VAR results had gone our way, I might be saying, best thing in the world, this VAR, at last, you can't trust these referees. We never get a decision from the ref. So, it's very subjective, but that's the way football should be. I'm not here to, give a balanced commentary. I'm here as a Millwall supporter, and I thought we were fucked over by it yesterday. Very, very proud of our performance. I'd definitely put Japhet Tanganga in at right back. After that, because of his body position, he was a right back playing in a centre back position. You could see the way he was standing. He was standing facing the corner flag. A centre half should be facing with his chest facing the halfway line, ready to clear his lines. And with that ball whizzed in, he tried to head it, but he's standing in the wrong position. So don't want to get on the guy's case too much, but you just saw the golfing class, and you know I was impressed with the Palace players, to be honest with you. I thought they were in control. I've got to be honest. I thought they could have really turned it on and punished us, but fair play, they didn't. And you know, who am I to say that? We came away with our heads held high, I thought, and I thought we played really well. We were definitely in it. Josh Coburn was a whisper away from getting a couple of goals, and you know, who knows? 2-1 down if we'd have... Well, after our guy was sent off, Wes Harding, who I thought was our man of the match, put a very nice long throw into the box. His long throws are as good as Ryan Leonard, if not better, because Ryan Leonard does long, big loopers. Jake Harding gets a bit of topspin on it. You know, they're flatter, which is what you want. You want it like a cross, not like a lob. And I was very impressed with Wes Harding. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And the goal, didn't he take it well? I mean, you know, he took it like a seasoned, you know, attacking midfielder the way he came in. I mean, I've seen Saville and Billy and all that sky those into Rose Ed, and he put it right in the danger zone. Got a slight deflection. It wasn't a massive deflection. You know, these fucking pundits, anything to have a pop at Millwall, it got a massive deflection. It wasn't a massive deflection. It shaved one of the defenders on the leg and it went in a goal. And it could well have gone in a goal if it didn't get a deflection anyway. He kept it low. You know, it was about knee height. Fantastic technique. So I come away really proud. And as I say, I mean, Palace, aren't they supported by Muppets, right? We parked our car opposite the Clifton pub, waited for the police cordon to go. We walked down there, kept our Millwall clobber on, and they started, didn't they? You know, fuck off Millwall. Well, we stood there, right? You know, I'm 60, I've had a heart attack, my mate's 58, and I got my boy there who's not yet 18, and we said, all right then, come over here and say they wouldn't get, they would not leave the little partition of the pub, you know, the ultras, blimey, soft as shit. And if you're hearing this, you know who you are. So, you know, well done. We ain't going to see you for a while. Thank fuck, what a load of rubbish. Nah, not for me, Crystal Palace, mate. You can keep that, and South London don't belong to you. You're supported by a load of fucking Nigels from Surrey and Carshalton and all these places. South London is SE16, mate. Bermondsey, New Cross. So, fuck you. Fuck Crystal Palace. We're Millwall, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra.
Well, good morning, dear listener. It's the morning after the night before, as they famously say. My views on the Palace-Millwall game. Firstly, I thought the atmosphere in the away end was brilliant. Obviously, they had a few lulls during the game. It tends to happen when you go to any football game, home and away. But from before kick-off, during the game itself, and post-match, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and fair play to the Millwall fans for actually bringing some atmosphere to that place, because Palace didn't bring anything, considering it's meant to be a South London derby and they're the ones bigging it up. And in truth, I think they sort of care more about this derby than Millwall fans do. They didn't really bring a lot at all. But yeah, fair play to Millwall fans. The game itself, I did think at half-time it was over as a contest, in the sense that when you get your goalkeeper sent off in the 8th minute and you have to reshuffle your pack, it really would just turn into damage limitation. So at 2-1, I even said to someone, you know, as a result, if it ends 2-1, the way the first half was with, you know, they hit the bar from an offside position, you know, they Chilwell got through and had a shot against Jensen when he come on. I would have said, you know what, I'd take that, because I thought Palace were more dominant in the first half due to that red card. Not saying it wasn't a red card for anyone listening who might be neutral. Laws of the game states that probably is a red. But I thought, you know, second half, I thought we really were arguably the better side. We were creating more of the chances, at least. And, you know, we were getting more corners than they seemed to be. And it was just a sort of case where I just think maybe one of those corners we get sank on it. You never know, do you? Football's football, especially cup football. Even though we were 2-1 down, I thought their third goal was a bit of a sucker punch. I thought we had a little bit more of the momentum. And like I said, I even vividly remember saying to someone sat near me that I think if anyone is going to score next, it'd probably be Millwall. And then 90 seconds later, Palace put it in the back of the net. So I have this curse of the commentator, so I'll learn to keep my mouth shut a bit more. But in all, I thought it was a valiant effort from Millwall. I just thought Palace were a typical, when you play a Premier League team, were just not a class above in the sense they were much, much better than us. I just thought, they was a bit sharper than us, faster to the ball, used the ball better when they had it. Their width play was a lot better than ours. You can argue again because we had the 10 men. And we was always going to struggle against a Premier League team, even with 11 players, let alone 10. So, a 3-1 result away. No one likes to lose, don't get me wrong, but for me, it was more about the effort, and we gave it a crack, and we nearly got something. So fair play to the boys. Really, really good effort overall. One thing I would like to say as well, though, with the goalkeeping incident that led to the red card, yeah, it was nasty. Let's not beat around the bush. He's caught him in the head, not even just in the head. With his boots, his head's gone back and all that kind of stuff. He's had to have stitches inside of his head, all this jazz that comes with it. But I think the media pile-on the poor lad has just been absolutely horrific. And like I say to a lot of people, you're judged and sentenced by social media these days. Roberts is going to be looking at that, knowing like he's hurt him there and he's caused an issue. And allegiances aside, they are professional footballers. So he's not deliberately meant out to do that, or we hope he's not meant to do that. And the way that the media is just cracking on at him is just completely unfair, in my opinion. Red card, yeah, like saying that he needs to, should be, he needs to be like charged with assault and never played a game again, and all this is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. He'll get his ban. He'll feel bad for it. You hear these stories of players where they message each other. Mateta seems all right in the sense that he's, put a message out on social media and said he wants to come back fighting fit. Look, if he's willing to move on, I think we should all move on, because I think there's a lot of unnecessary pile up, and especially once again from mainstream media. I thought it was a good game yesterday, as I say. Do you know what? I could give a shout to Wes Harding, man of the match. Didn't really put a foot wrong and scored. Do you know what? I'll give it to him. But again, Ivanovic done right when he come on. Coburn was okay. One more final thing. I know, just a final thing. Fair play to the fans as well for Romain Esse, doing the usual, giving him a bit of stick during the game, but then afterwards giving him a good clap. Well done, Millwall. Well done, the travelling support. Not overly happy with the old Bill when we left, trying to get to the train station, but some things never change when you go away, dear listener, do they? Come, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. It's Hassan here. Just leaving some thoughts and comments after that. Shocking game, really. I didn't have that on the old bingo card. Let's start from the beginning and let's start with the sending off. I couldn't get a ticket, unfortunately. I was watching from home, so I had the pleasure of watching replays and all that bollocks. And I'm sorry to keep laughing, but the outrage online and the reaction to the challenge was hilarious. The way people were going on, they're acting like Roberts mugged him or something like that. It's like the ball's there to be won, and I've been winding up Palace fans a lot since the full time about the challenge, because the way they're going on is ridiculous. You thought they lost the game. They spent more time moaning about that than celebrating their, let's face it, hollow victory, which is what it was. He's a fucking red card. Let's face it. It was a pretty poor challenge, but fuck it happens. Week in, week out. What can you do? But I can't fault the boys. Palace will not. As soon as we went down to 10 men, it was like everyone was back to the wall. They were gonna break at some point, and let's face it, we were 2-0 down by our own doing. I describe the first half as a suicide. We were the masters of our own downfall. It was a poor challenge for Roberts so early on in the game, and we gifted them 2 goals. But all right, bear in mind they had lots of other chances. I think they would work. They had one ruled out, but Tanganga, fuck me, to score an own goal in a game like that, but such a bad own goal as well. It's like a 50p header, so that was comical. And then even Mitchell, who had a fairly decent game, the clearance from him cannoned off Tanganga again, of all people, which fell to one of their players to tap in, even though it was an offside position. Obviously, it came off one of our players. So, bit of a calamity, really, but you can't fault the effort. And it was good for Wes Harding to nick a goal right at the end of 13 minutes of added time. A well-taken shot, somehow found its way into the bottom corner. And to be honest with you, it made the second half very interesting indeed, because I thought we put a good account of ourselves. They were rattled, Palace. They were all out of sorts, and a little bit more composure in places when maybe we could have nicked another goal and taken it to extra time and pens. But I can't fault the effort. They put as much into it as they could. It was always going to be a difficult task with 11 men, let alone 10. I just hope that all the players come out of it well. Negley went off injured. I hope that's not serious. We've got a big game on Tuesday night, Bristol City at home, so I hope the boys can get up for that. They certainly done themselves proud today. They've got nothing to be concerned in that regard. I don't know what else to say, really. It was just... It's annoying, really. I'd like to see what we could have done, 11 versus 11. They started off well. They do move the ball around well. I give them that, but it's a shame. Again, we'll never really know. The fucking Nigels, they're going to be celebrating tonight with their hobbycraft crayons and spray paint. They're such a bunch of idiots, I've got a mate of mine who's a Charlton fan, and even he was rolling his eyes. He was messaging me. He's like, "You know what? I can't fucking stand them lot." He wanted us to win, and he's a Charlton fan. As I said, it's so insufferable. And their little banner at the end, embarrassing. You beat a championship side with 10 men, 2 goals gifted, 1 own goal, 1 deflected, and I thought we'd done quite well, all things considered. But the way people going, Steve Parish, by the way, if anyone sees him, he needs a fucking slap. I mean, who invited him? He must have invited himself onto the TV. Who interviews a fucking chairman at half time? Oh, seriously, a fucking prick. The way he dug Roberts out. It was like it was malice. It was with intent. Fuck off. It's football. You never watched a football match. The problem is, though, Nick, I really do think these teams, players, staff, they've been in the Premier League. The Premier League's so sanitised now, right? It's all for the wet wipes that they don't know what a tough tackle is anymore these days. Honestly, they think things like that is basically like GBH, and that Robert should be given a criminal record after that. Fuck off, man. Honestly. The Premier League is... I know we're trying to get into it. Just give me 1 season and get the fuck out of there. It's all for a bunch of wet wipes. And do you remember we played Forest in pre-season? There was a bad tackle in that game. Fucking, the way they went on. And these lot are no different. And for Parish to come out and dig him out like that, I think it's fucking disgusting. He should be ashamed of himself. It was a bad tackle, but to call out a professional football player like that, oh, he's 30 years old, he should know better. Fuck off. If you watch the footage back, Mateta pushes Cooper, so he fouls him in the process. Right, so what's he supposed to do, Roberts? The ball's there to be won. If he goes in with it, how else is he supposed to win it? If he goes in with a leaning arm, they're going to say it's handball because he's a goalkeeper. No, I don't fucking blame him for doing that. It was poor as it was, but the fallout from it is just, it's not for me, mate. And you know what? It's like a battle. Some people can see that it's football, some people call it calm, but this is the modern day fan, sanitised, watered down. They don't fucking know football. And also the other thing is Jonathan Pearce. Do you know what? I think you went to the game, didn't you, Nick? And if you did, it was a good job and all, because Jonathan Pearce on commentary, he was fucking insufferable. So insufferable. Do you know, I kind of liked him, especially if you watched the Millwall Everton game when we beat him 3-2. His commentary was almost legendary. But today's game, it was almost as if someone gave him a woke handbook and said, dig out Millwall as much as you can. Oh, Millwall unsavoury chants. When the striker was down, they were singing "Let Him Die," and again, everyone online is hooked onto that. Fucking hell, man! You hear that week in, week out, fucking for donkey's years. Again, the Premier League, they're completely separate from the rest of reality when it comes to football. Honestly, they just don't know true football. Heart, soul, passion. So sanitised, so watered down. But it is what it is. We move on. I hope we can win on Tuesday night. Always good because I don't want the players to start. They lost today, and they're still feeling down and out. They lose Tuesday. Hopefully, we can put a performance in. I suppose in some ways we've got no extra time pens, so they weren't exhausted in that regard. But they have played 90 minutes with 10 men. But
I thought, to pick individuals out, I thought Coburn did all right. He holds the ball up well. It's something Ivanovic needs to learn off him. But when Ivanovic came on, he gets the ball down well. He brings other players here. I thought Bangura Williams grew into the game. I thought the defenders, they done as best as they could. Wes Harding, again, for someone who's in and out so much, he put a shift in, got a goal. I thought, but who else? Yeah, I mean, Honeyman buzzed around, done this and that. But anyway, let the Nigels have their moment of joy, and we will move on to the next game. All the best, mate. Bye.
Hiya, Nick. It's Archie here, just calling in. I haven't called in for a while, so thought I'd call in after today. Cool. It had all the makings of a great day, didn't it? I mean, in the pub early doors, just had that atmosphere about it, old school atmosphere. And, well, what will go down in history is our first game on VAR. Our keeper gets sent off after 5 minutes. It just sums it up, really, doesn't it? Can you imagine that every week? Of course I want to go up, but it's all... it's just shit. Even the offside checks and I hate it. I do. I really do. But yeah, what can you say about the game? I mean, I'm quite proud of them. The way it could have been bad. It could have been bad. When it went 2-0, I was thinking the worst, and then they stayed in the game and could have nicked something in the end. Really, Coburn missed a couple. Probably should have done better. Definitely the first one. I mean, it was right in front of me, and I don't know how he didn't get anything on it in the first half. I don't know if it was. I can't remember if it was before or after the red card. Might have been after, so it might not have mattered too much. But it was, big chance. A good day. I mean, I forgot what the Nigels are like and how bad that ground is. I mean, I think I was at the back, so you've got that big scaffolding. I'm sure, obviously, at the bottom it's not as bad. But yeah, it was terrible ground. Police were terrible. But yeah, other than that, mate, I think, look, if we're realistically going to win the FA Cup, I don't think so. We've got Bristol City now, a big game. And there's ways to get beaten, isn't there? And today is definitely one of those days. Alex Neil, I thought he spoke really well after the game. I've just listened about Steve Parish. He had a little moan up at half time, saying it was the worst challenge he's ever seen. So I don't think he watches much football. And the way they've sort of made it out and talking about it is like the keeper's gone out to do it on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Which obviously it wasn't at all. So fucked, like we've made the front pages and the back pages, which is a success in my eyes. Alex Neil said exactly the right things after the game. He's really, really growing on me, Alex Neil. I think he understands us, he gets us. And let's see if we can make a late run into the playoffs, but really not too fussed either way. But I'm behind these. We're building something special, I think, anyway, I hope. And thank God we ain't Nigels. I mean, they might have a better football team than us, but fuck me, what a bunch of wallies that lot are. Nice one, Nick. Cheers for your podcast, mate, as always. Nice one. Come on, you Lions.
Nick, Bobby C at Victoria on the fucking train back with the fucking Palace, fucking ultra cunts. And I'll be honest with you, mate, yeah, in the Palace then, Millwall sung the house. Like, Millwall didn't really turn up, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a red card. I mean, the gulf between the two teams, Nick, fuck me, mate. Fucking Palace, little cunts. I was an actor, but I don't give a fucking flying fuck, mate. I'll end it with this, right? We tried, we puffed. End of the day, the gulf has to be between the two teams. And I'm going to end it with this, mate. VAR 3, Millwall 1. Bye for now, Bobby T.
Nick, Bobby T. Let's be honest, we were never going to win the cup. Crystal Palace, miles apart in the midfield. Sending off changed the game, if you ask me, Nick. Millwall. It was painful today in the Palace, in the ultra Nigel area. In the front row, right at the dugout, saw all the Millwall boys and all that. It just was awkward. I think Billy Mitchell spotted me and smiled, but forget all that. I just think Camel Nedgley, off injured, didn't get into the game. Ivanovic should have started. Coburn, he played the formation. Palace were miles better. It was a close game, 2-1. The sending off changed the game, Nick Hart. And for me, Tanga, own goal, offside, VAR. I explained to you VAR in the cup. Millwall got a contract on the league in the playoffs now to get Bristol City on Tuesday. Wasn't miles apart, London derby, but for me it was painful. But as I said to you, Camel couldn't get in the game. Williams, RB Bang Williams wasn't really at the races. Amaka could have started, given pace. They weren't brilliant at the back. And we come up short, but great turnout for the Lions. Awkward for me. But yeah, done us proud. Millwall players, every single one tried hard. But anyway, I just love Liam Roberts, Jackie Chang. Boom. Wasn't a red card. Took him out clean. Cantona. Bye for now, Bobby T. On to Tuesday. Nigels, I hate you. Ultras, I hate you. Palace, hate you. The only team in South London is South London Millwall. Bye for now, Bobby T.
But Billy was really, really good. You know, he was controlled, but in his own box, he panicked a little bit. And that's the difference between Premier League and, Championship. He panicked and, smashed the ball in the Tanganga. And it wasn't his day today, was it really? And then the guy scored. But then he got back into it, Aziz, left-hand side, had a little bit of trickery, got lucky, and there was Wes to finish it. And, come across TV, all the crowd was just brilliant. They outsung the drummers, and it was brilliant. Brilliant to hear. And and then second half, I've getting messages from Palace fans going, "Hang on here, we're struggling," and we had some great chances. The ball that Wes played in, Coburn was just that little bit, away from the goal, away from the ball, and then obviously, Legley went off with an injury today. And there were so many chances, the Serb header, and then obviously, we ran out of steam, and they scored that header, and I can't be more, how proud I was of those fellas today, and they battled to the end, but Palace were rattled, they were rattled, you could tell that, and it's just that what could have been, and unfortunately for Roberts, that's what it is, but. The crap that you hear on TV about, that level of, there is a divide between the Premier League and the Championship, and that is the money, and you can't touch a fucking player because they're going to roll about and they can't handle a tackle anymore, because when you go up to that league, you can't tackle anyone anymore because you're either going to be sent off, you're going to get a yellow, or that's it. You're, two of those, you're out. And I honestly believe we are not ready for that level yet because we haven't learned the way how to tackle and be that aggressive, because you can't be a Championship player and go up to that league because there's such a divide, and it is, you can't tackle a Premier League player. Oh no, you're not allowed. And that's the difference. But I couldn't be more proud of the team today, and Alex Neil come out and supported Roberts. And that means a lot, and I think to him and the players. But we go again, but I'm proud as punch with that team today, and I thought the supporters were amazing. And all you could hear was those supporters singing. There was let him die and all that. Obviously the press has been picked up on it like it's normal, but supporters done us proud today, and the players done us proud. And Alex Neil supported our team for the end, and I love it. Take care, mate.
Well, I was proud of the Lions yesterday, Nick. We were up against it from the start, really, against an upwardly mobile Premiership side, whether we like that or not. That's what they are, And going down to 10 men, it was going to be like pissing in the wind, really, wasn't it? Silly mistakes led to their first half goals, and it looked like, at that stage now, we were heading for 4 or 5-0. But great work from Femi. And a good finish from Wes gave us the hope, and we dug in well in the second half. And, Josh Coburn was only 2 inches away from 2-2, but, it wasn't to be. Now, I've seen some shit on social about Jensen being at fault for our third goal. But the last time I looked, he was 6'6", not 9'6". You know, some people need to get a grip, yeah. Wes Harding was our man of the match, and to be honest, he played better than Kramer has in some recent games. And I was 50-50 about signing Coburn permanently, but I'm more positive now about him. You need to see the work rate when you only have 25% of the game. And being without Kundal was a big blow, you know. There was no link man for him, and he did a lot of unselfish work there up on his own. I thought Romain showed his class after the full-time whistle. And Alex Neil's post-match interview, as ever, was impressive and refreshingly honest. And he never bullshits, does he? And by the way, why should a football coach be asked questions about rent boys when analysing his own team's performance? You know, I just don't get that. The Palace chairman, Steve Parish, you know, he only needed to mention the injury to his centre-forward once, but his half-time tirade on the BBC was inflammatory. And I think the man is a complete and utter bastard.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.